From the stars to our soul, it's worth more than all the gold. Native strength, native strength. Are you ready for another Native Strength short? Has anyone ever called you a loser? Maybe you've lost at a number of things in life and you yourself might have felt like a loser. Life is full of losses of many different kinds. There isn't anyone who hasn't suffered some kind of a loss. As a matter of fact, there is a circle of losing. And one of the things that the Native Strength Path can help us with is how to process our losses. Not too long ago, I did a random rambling little piece here, a video, about how I never lose. It's not that I haven't suffered losses, of course I have. It's that every loss comes with a lesson. And once you learn the lesson, it's a victory. And you don't have to repeat that lesson. Life has a very strange way of showing us different lessons in the form of losses. And if we don't get the lesson from the first loss, it's inevitable that life will give us another opportunity. So if we learn the lesson from that loss, we never have to repeat it, which is kind of nice. I want to share with you a little clip, a little excerpt from one of my Native Strength full-length episodes. And this is about two of the Native Strength principles that are displayed in this little clip, which includes an excerpt from an interview of Stephen Colbert with Anderson Cooper. And Stephen is talking about his life, and in his life, he talks about these two principles. See if you can pick them out. Sometimes we think of ourselves as a loser when we've lost a job, a relationship, or something else important in life. This is unjust and not valid at all. We've all lost at some point. No one can be the winner all the time. If we think of ourselves as a loser, we're doing ourselves a disservice. This feeds our fear feeders. Do you remember the first step to assuming self-authority? It's experience from adversity. If we've lost at something in life, we've gained valuable experience. Every loss in life comes with a gift, even though it might be difficult to see it for quite a while. If we can find the gift in our loss, we can learn from it and not have to repeat our lesson. Finding the gift in our loss often becomes clearer when we look back. Stephen Colbert mentioned this in an interview with Anderson Cooper. Now, please don't start thinking about how much you like or dislike Stephen or Anderson. Stay with me here. No one can argue that Stephen Colbert isn't a successful comedian. He's at the top of his field. But he told Anderson that it was the tragedy of losing his father and brothers that brought about his talent. He wanted to see his mother smile again. He wanted to make her laugh. It took quite a while, but finally his humor worked. Many years later, after all of his success, his mother passed over to the other side. This made Stephen stop and think. Did he really want to be a comedian? After all, it was all started for her. This is an excellent example of two Native Strength principles. First of all, we have the very first step of assuming self-authority. Stephen gained valuable life experience from his traumatic loss when he learned how to make even the most grief-stricken among us laugh again. Secondly, when he looked back after the loss of his mother to examine if this was really what he wanted to do for the rest of his life, he was using the mirrors of self-reflection
to examine his own molding, sculpting, and armoring. He had become a comedian because of circumstances beyond his control. Now that this situation no longer existed, he paused to reflect on it. Did he enjoy being the person he had found himself molded into? You may find yourself asking these same questions at some point in your life.
Did you catch those two native strength principles? I think it's pretty cool to see these principles on display and how they've actually helped somebody in their life. And they can help you too. There's two particular episodes that I'd like to make you aware of that can help you to process any of your losses and find the lesson or the victory in those losses. The first one is the circle of life. And in our childhood, in our past, it's inevitable that we suffered some kind of a loss or some kind of an experience that brought us pain or suffering. Oftentimes, we process this, or we think we have at the time, to the best of our ability. After all, we're children. We don't have a lot of tools yet. And then we go on. So what we have decided about life or the particular situation, it might not have been accurate for us now. And we know this because these thoughts keep coming back. This pain keeps revisiting us. We keep going over these same painful memories. And it's been scientifically proven that if you re-traumatize yourself by remembering painful memories like that, which oftentimes is inevitable because life is trying to teach you a lesson here, you haven't got it yet, we're doing physical harm to our brain. It creates a chemical that creates a crevice in our brain, much like acid would sketch marble or something. Now, there's ways to heal it. There's ways we can overcome it. But the reason that these things keep coming up, the reason we keep having these memories and thinking about these painful events is because we haven't quite gotten the lesson completely in it. So in my episode, The Circles of Life, I explain the traditional wheels, the medicine wheels, that are a map of our life. And they show us at what direction we're facing on the wheels at any particular age in our life, which shows us what we're influenced by and how we're thinking. So we can see that at a certain age, something affected us a certain way. But now that we're older and in a different position on the wheel, we can look at it from a different perspective and gain the lesson in it. The other episode that I'd like to let you be aware of is the mirrors of self-reflection. And this is all about how we've all been molded and sculpted into the person we are today by our image makers. We've come to believe that we're unacceptable of love in our original form. So we have a lot of pain surrounding that until we realize that our image makers were influenced by their image makers. And they didn't even know their true self. So they are training us to be the kind of person that their image makers want them to be, which could have been a person that would fit in with society 100 years ago and may never have been right for any of those people to begin with, because this all is handed down from the beginning. So if we go back in time and we look at these things, and indeed the native strength principles that Stephen Colbert spoke about in his little clip are discussed in this Mirrors of Self-Reflection episode. So I hope you'll take the time to check those out if this is something that is bothering you in your life. And thank you very much for watching.
From the stars to our soul, it's worth more than all the gold.